Sport Quattro replica I had the chance of standing next to the other day. So no more sticking it in that shitty vice and hitting it with a hammer. So it's set in place. Finally. So I've been doing a bit of geeking instead of getting on with the car. The basic pillars are ready. Once a geek, always a geek. Back to the proper shit. It's time to make some sense of these B-pillars. These are coupe B-pillar sections. We need to make them the right profile and the right width. So this profile is actually not too far off what the two-door is. So here is how the coupe B-pillar looks against the two-door doors. Quite different. But now let's actually look at how this profile in reality looks. And you look at that and the way out. If you actually cut and slit and move it across and bring it up in line with that, and you then look at these two, put them side by side so they meet at the bottom. They're really not that far out by the top, so you wouldn't think so. They don't need that much manipulation. I thought they needed much more than that. So that is the size of the problem. So as we know, we need to modify that profile, but also we need to narrow these down. The measurements from a two-door B-pillar are at the top, they are 22.85 mil, and at the bottom 36.1. So the top of the coupe B-pillars are 41.5 and the bottom are 58.6. So as I say, two-door B-pillar is measured at 22.85 mil. We don't need to go to the point, so 23, and the bottom is 36.1, so 36. The coupe measures at 41.5 and the bottom at 50.86. So the top, that's 18 mil, and the bottom is 15 mil. So that's how much I need to narrow the coupe B-pillar by. So let's mark these up, shall we? First of all, because we're going to be splitting these in half and joining them together, scribe some marks across so we can ensure that we line them up like so. And then what we'll do, clamp that down parallel, scribe a cut line, move it over, 18 mil at the top and 15 at the bottom. Check them again, 18, 15. So they're marked up. It's marked up for cutting. But before we do that, if I alter the profile first and then cut it, I think it'll give me a better finish. So how am I going to cut this profile? Simple. I'm just going to cut a number of slits down this side and down the other side, and then just bend it, but be careful to bend it. Try and be careful to bend it an equal amount all the way along so it doesn't look like some jerky radius. So keep it as even as possible. So to get that as even as possible, I want to cut it at even slots. So back on with the ruler and we'll measure some cut points, wobbly and flat. So I'm only going to cut it at the 100 mil mark to start off with. See how much it flexes or bends, then cut some more in if I need to, etc, etc. Right. Death wheel a go-go. Now that's easily weak enough to bend, but is it going to look too square? How does this look? Looks pretty good. Do we think that's good enough? If we look right down here and we feel it, I can't feel any squaring as such. And if we look down the angle, either side, I can't really notice any squaring. I think that'll do. Just needs welding in place. Let's not forget it's having a fiberglass body kit on it. Fiberglass is not perfect. These B-pillars might end up with the straightest thing on the thing. Anyway, let's tack them in place. So that stiffened it up immediately. Let's just check it. I think that looked good. At this point, the microphone decided to shit itself. So now you've got voiceover man. All I'm saying here is basically I've welded it a bit, ground it a bit, and now it's pretty solid and it should be the right size. And next I need to slit it down the middle and narrow it. So grinding noises, grinding noises. God, I tell you what, my wife hates me grinding in the garage. Does her head in. So there you go, ground it. Now it's time to weld it back up. So we clamp it, measure it, measure it again, make sure it's right, tack it in place, and then see what it looks like on the car. Not a bad fit at all. I'm quite pleased with the way these are progressing. So you can see the profile's pretty good. It matches the B-pillar, the cage. All looks quite aligned. So, next thing, a bit more welding. So that's one primed up. It's not fully welded, as you can see, because you never know, I might have to alter it or amend it or build it around the cage, but it's the basic shape. So what I need to go with that is the rear portion. There we go. That's one set, and then obviously we need the other one. So that's two B-pillars, narrowed, and the profile altered. So as you can clearly see, there's still a lot of work to them, but the basic pillars are ready. Oh yeah, I've been geeking away as well instead of getting on with the car. And what we've got is a little display that has my YouTube stats on it. Keep me company while I'm in the garage. So they're pretty basic, the API of YouTube. It only gives you subs, views, and how many videos. I've also done a calculation to see subs since my last video uploaded, views since the last video uploaded, and the same subs in the last 24 hours. And the views in the last 24 hours. So yeah, I suppose I should be getting on with the car. But yeah, once a geek, always a geek. There you go. So clearly I want to make sure the dimensions of this Sport Quattro is correct. So I've taken some measurements from some other vehicles. First of all, a B2 Audi 80 rear quarter, where the reveal is in the window. So basically the back edge of the B pillar to the top of the window line that's 88 degrees. And the green one, which is the front of the B-pillar to the roof line, is 92 degrees. Now that's actually taken from a Sport Quattro replica I had the chance of standing next to the other day, which is the first time I've actually stood next to a Sport Quattro replica. I've certainly not been next to a real one. So they're the basic two measurements that I need to be looking at when I'm trying to set this roof angle. And there's the second B-pillar done, in place. So the next job is cut it off, cut them both off, roughly at the correct height, put the roof on, and then just take it down as I need to get the roof angle correct. So compared to that line and here, it needs to be 92 degrees, and that should set the roof line. We'll then put the Kevlar roof on and see where that fits. The gap between the door and the roof scuttle is about 5mm, so 10mm we'll put up here. We'll put about 20mm just to be safe. And that's the roof that's on. Clearly still high. But what I need to do now, if you look at the back, I need to align these C-pillars to the roof, and again this side across there, so that the roof is basically parallel coming back. And then what I'll do, I'll put a slot in this so I can drop this edge down inside the cage, and then it'll stop it from moving, and then I can just alter the height. So yeah, a bit more adjustment. After much cutting and refining, there it is, roof in place. Now, I've not measured the angles yet, we'll do that in a minute. Cut it into there, all these welding and bracing. There's an equal gap down there. Just need settling at the front. And if we look at the back, it's spot on in alignment to either side. And again, B-pillar cut and notched, so we'll brace that. We'll not check this angle yet, so we shall do it right now. Hoping for somewhere near 92 degrees. And that says 92.8. So I'm happy about that. That means all my working out and seems to work. So this gap is what I expected, about 5 to 10mm. That angle is correct, and then I can build the B-pillar. Fucking happy days. So it's set in place. Finally. So I think the next thing is to chuck the Kevlar roof on and make sure that fits. think we'll need to cut through there, take this bit out, and then this whole section will then drop in and drop down in there. Like that, drop in there. These edges here, I think I'll just need a little bit of trimming just to fit inside the rain scuttle, whatever it's called, this thing. But I think you can see once this front end is dropped in, this can be a pretty good fit. And then there's this fabrication. To fabricate the B-pillar, as we know, and this return. My plan has always been not to throw anything away from this build, which included, remember this, what I cut out of here? I was going to reuse this flange, which would be that return there, but I appear to have only one side. I must have thrown the other one away. I can't believe it. I kept every single shitty piece that I've cut out of this car. So I can't use that because I need two. But I have a new tool. And I'll be making those flanges myself. So we have a metal bender. So no more sticking it in that shitty vise and hitting it with hammer. We'll use this and I'll fabricate those returns. Neat job, hopefully. Love new tools. Right, time for this roof never to come off again. That's one B pillar fully welded and in place. And that's the second. Fits better than I actually could have hoped for. Cool. So the A pillars are in place. First weld in there. You're not going anywhere now. And again the other side. There's still plenty more to do. So yeah, that roof is now going nowhere. Cheers.